Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Design Recharge. I'm excited this is a rapid recharge, so it's about 20 minutes of me kind of teaching a little bit of something, and then I always open it up for questions, and you can actually join live if you want. And today I did have somebody who said they were going to tune in and come on screen. So again, this is something everybody can do. It's great if you can email me beforehand, then I know. But the way to do it, and today it's Jeremy Rivers, who is a longtime watcher, and I met him at Creative South this past year. So I talked to him online for a long time, and he'd come for many, I guess over a year, and many episodes. So anyway, this is Rapid Recharge about online learning. So I am going to jump in. Hey, Carlos. And if you guys definitely, Alma, hey, give me a shout, say where you're coming in, tuning in from. That would be awesome. So then that way we can kind of all see. Hello, also the other Alma, because there's only two of you. But it's always good to know where everybody's kind of coming from. So today, again, online learning, and I'm going to jump back and forth, and I have like 7 polls because I really think they're fun. And as you can see, I had something bit me, so it was like on Saturday, and it still looks like a vampire bite, but it wasn't. I'm okay. But anyway, so I'm going to start with a poll just to see. I think these are kind of fun. So the first poll is, do you subscribe to any online learning platform like lynda.com or Skillshare or Udemy? And I don't know if I'm saying that right, but you guys can go ahead and do yes or no, and then we'll get those answers in a little bit. So, and then I'm going to do another poll in a minute, but let me get my pen so I prepared. All right, so it's coming up, and about maybe 88% said yes, and then some said no. And so a lot of times people, great, awesome. I'm excited to have everybody. Andre, great to have you. Maxine, also. Carlos, we're from all over the world. Andre, thankfully you're here, because if we didn't have you, we would just be the United States. So Joseph, awesome to have you. And William, of course, always good to have you too. Okay, so we're going to get started. And I'm going to try to use both computers, and hopefully it'll be okay. And since I don't know if you can hear me okay, can somebody just tell me if you can hear okay? And I know there's a lag, so sorry. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and click over to the other screen. All right, and I think I can move this over here so I can still see and go. So Andre says Skillshare, but he has an account at Lynda, but not subscribed at the moment. So that's the next question. So I'm going to go ahead. So it ended up being like 77% said yes, 23% said no. So I'm going to go ahead and do the next one, which was how much time do you spend each week learning new skills? Like through an online company like Skillshare or Lynda, or even just free on YouTube. And if you guys want to go ahead and answer that, that doesn't even say, no, it says, do you spend time? I'd love to know in the chat how long you spend. Like, do you think you spend 1 to 4 hours a week or less than an hour? I know it depends on what you're doing. It does for me. It depends on what I'm doing. But it looks like about 83% said yes, 86% said yes. They do some sorts out, 75%. So that's awesome. 67%. All right. I'm going to go back, and I'm going to start with the presentation. So I'm doing it a little different. Y'all have to let me know if you like it or not. So obviously this one's online learning, and I'm trying to use the wrong mouse. Oh, I can't use the mouse. I'm going to do it like this. So I had a conversation with an alumni who was not in a great position she wasn't working in design. She still wasn't in the field. And so I said, well, and she'd been graduated about 5 years. And I know that there has something to do with the drive. And, sometimes you graduate and you just don't really know what to do. So And I'm reading Carlos. It says, I watch things while I work in hopes of learning through osmosis. That would be awesome. I would love to sleep on my computer and it just go in. So I'm with you there, Carlos. So I asked her, I said, because she was concerned that she hadn't, gotten as far as she wanted to get. And she wanted to land the kind of job she had wanted to have. A more design job or at a corporate or something instead of just doing freelance. And I said, well, what have you taught yourself since you graduated? Or what have you taught yourself this month or this year? And it was like conversation ended. And I think that's a really important question. And I think it's an important question for you to ask people if you're trying to hire people, also important to be able to answer. So I think shallow learning and deep learning, each of them have their advantages. I think shallow learning can be something more like on the lines of a YouTube. They're not going to have like 2 hours or 6 hours of in-depth learning probably on a single YouTube video. And then deep learning is maybe going through a course that takes you, 2 to 3 weeks to actually go through. Hey, Amy. And Doc Reed also says, yeah, it depends on the workload of the week. Totally agreed about that. And so I'd kind of like to know if you guys do, and if you don't understand what I mean by shallow learning I think is like just going to a quick YouTube, figuring something out, or even Skillshare, I think is more of a shallow learning experience. Linda, I think, starts pushing on the deep learning because some of those are a lot more hours. So it depends on where you're trying to grow and what you're trying to do is where you should really go. But I really do believe that doing some shallow learning and some deep learning, both of them actually have their advantages. All right, so I think I know great leaders like Da Vinci and Thomas Jefferson believed that learning and exploring should never stop. They were both very curious men, and I agree completely with that. Constantly learning means that you're able to expand your knowledge base and your expertise, as well as sharpen and hone your skills. And again, as a designer in an ever-changing, always moving forward field, we have to keep up, or you have to be able to do something in such a way that makes you really an expert. Daiko says that's the only learning he does. No, it has nothing to do with you as a person. It's just that maybe right now you don't have time to do deep learning. And Daiko, I've been in tons of different situations where I also I haven't had a ton of time to go deep in something. So I'll just take the course, and then sometimes I'll just listen to the course. I won't even do the materials, but I'm getting all the information. And then sometimes I'll actually go through, and that goes a little deeper when you actually perform the exercise that they're asking you to do. All right, so here's what I think some of the benefits of online learning are. One, no travel, usually. It's usually at your own pace. And then you can also study a variety of subjects. You can study from, there are general kind of like hand lettering. There's a ton of Skillshares on hand lettering. And then there's also a ton of just more niche kind of skill-based, but it's on a specific thing. Like I remember I signed up, I haven't finished the class, but it was on how to have a successful Kickstarter. So again, very, very specific. That's on Skillshare, but I believe it's more niche, but it's still not super, super deep. Also, when you're doing online learning, kind of going back to at your own pace, you can kind of dip your feet in, or you can really know, you don't have to have so many prerequisites on more of the shallow learning. You don't have to maybe have all the tools, or you can get the tools and you still kind of can learn. It can be more for beginners, or just you figuring out if you wanted to even pursue that topic or that subject. With the variety of subjects, I I think you can learn about running a business. There's countless other options. Like I said, even you can learn from multiple industries. And I think that that's something that Skillshare's been doing a really good job at. All right, so I'm trying to read the chat as I go. And Andre also says that's one of the things that he likes in Skillshare. And so Amy says when she went back to school to study design, a few of her classes were online, or a few of her classes were online courses, and those were great and convenient. Again, those are usually, there's still a time element to them, but it's usually like within a week you have to do certain amount of things. So some of these that are kind of, you can dip your feet in, and then in 3 months you could still go back and pick it up wherever you left off. So sometimes it just, the at your own pace, I think really, really helps. And I still think that there is some great convenience to a course for credit. And most of these that we're talking about today is really not courses for credit. There are tons of options. Oops, boogers, I keep hitting the wrong button. Oh, culinary skills, that's pretty good. So tons of options, and for any type of budget. So I kind of want to go through. So obviously you have how-to videos on Vimeo, on YouTube, and other online mediums. You have countless subjects, and obviously tons of different experts that are on those platforms. Then the depth of the course and the more niche the audience, I have found that the higher the price the course you're going to find. So I've taken courses that are extremely specialized, and they're over, I hate to admit it, but I do about $4,000 a year of education costs. That could be from books, conferences, as well as courses that I bought. That's something I've budgeted for as a business expense every year, because again, obviously I'm an educator and I really want to stay up on what is new, as well as I want to keep my business going. So to grow my business and my knowledge, I've paid for multiple online self-driven courses that have ranged from $30 to $1,200. And I do pay for Skillshare personally, and then the school pays for Linda, which is super helpful. These courses have all challenged me. They've changed me, the way that I operate. Most of them are lifetime access, which I think is really important if you're going to spend $1,200 or $600 or whatever amount to have. And what that means is that it's they're not going to, you only have a year and then you're done. If you didn't get to the course, or you didn't get to finish it, or maybe you're stuck at a point you want to go back and watch the videos, that's something that I'm not going to spend over $300 on something that I can't go back to for a lifetime and continue to get learning out of it. So again, that's something to ask or to see. Also, if you're going to spend a lot of money on it, is there a money back guarantee? I think it would be a good one. So Andre also pointed out about schoolism.com and svslearn.com. And those are illustration focused, I think. So we talked about Skillshare. I think I have another poll that's a Skillshare one. So let me reset this one. Oh, no, not that one. Let's see. All right, so we talked about what platforms we used, or if you've used a platform. And so I'm going to ask this one. So this one is, do you spend time each week learning skills through an online company or YouTube, which is so similar to the one we already did, but it's more specific, like with lynda.com, YouTube, or a company that you're paying for, like Skillshare. All right, so everybody said yes. I'm going to reset it. Going to go to the next one. All right, let's see. I'm kind of asking the same thing. Do you find sites like lynda.com or Skillshare to be worth the subscription for your value of learning? Actually, I think this is really important and is different. So these are, lynda.com is about $30 a month, I believe. I think there may be some different tiers. And then Skillshare is $10 a month. And there is a different tier as well. There's a advanced or professional level. So some people, it's kind of almost split that they feel like those are worth the money. It's 60%. Absolutely. I guess I didn't even give a no. I guess it's, if you didn't, it would be, anyway, I guess it should have said no. Sorry about that. I clearly did these when I was asleep. Sorry about that. I wasn't asleep, but things don't make sense always in my brain. So, all right. So what about podcasts? So something like this, I think is interesting because I think I learn a lot from podcasts. I learn a lot from books, but I wanted to know, do you regularly listen to or watch weekly podcasts for learning? Because again, that's kind of a free online learning tool, and it's kind of about split. I'd love to know how many hours you think you're spending doing per week, but you can add that in the chat if you'd like. All right. It ended up being about 71 and 29. So 71 people said, yes, they do watch or listen to a podcast each week. All right. So now, all right, this one's more specific. And I'm going to make these results available. Which do you prefer, online learning at my own pace or in-person learning? And I think this is really interesting. Again, $1,200, you're getting a lot more. Again, if we're going back to the kind of options that you have, there are advantages to having a more in-person. Or so I did a class a few weeks ago. It was an illustration-based class by Ben Stafford. And I'm going to share his link. It's in the, it'll be underneath this video on the site. And I'll share that link in a minute. But it was really highly focused, and it was 10 people in the class. And it was great because I knew some of those people that were in the class with me. And again, they were from all over. They could have been all over the world, but they were all over the United States. And it was just $20 for a class. It was for an hour. He gave us some files so we could actually go at our own pace, but we could ask questions. And if I'm sure if I had to ask questions later, he would have been able to answer those questions. But he also gave me some tools as well that I would be able to use, you know, at the as I go. So I thought, you know, for $20, that was a 1 hour, very small group session. And I thought it was a really good price. I'm going to see, I think I have his link. I'm going to share that. I think I have to write. Let me type this sucker. That's how you would get to it. And I told him I was going to mention it, and it was great. Ben Stafford. You can also look him up on Dribble. He's great. But he was also, he allowed us to introduce ourselves, and we could have interacted with each other to some extent. And we definitely can interact with him, which I thought was really nice. What I've found is, why with the higher priced, you have better customer service, you have better troubleshooting if you're having trouble as well. So Courtney says focus is hard for her when she's doing online learning. You know, I agree, Courtney. I think I actually don't make it a priority, or I have in the past not made it a priority. And I think that if you can separate, like go to another area, and then you're maybe taken out of your area, that if it's your office, or you can go to the library, so that you aren't distracted and you can really keep your focus. I think it can be a lot better. And then the last, number 5, is you can learn from industry experts in different and numerous fields. So I have interviewed a bunch of people, and one of my great, awesome, crafty ladies that I love is Julie Fayfan Balzer. And her link, all these links are in the post, and really the whole thing's in the post. But she is somebody who makes me want to get my hands dirty instead of just staying on the computer. And she's not a designer, but she does a lot of stuff that allows you to get more. It kind of, there were some things that I've applied from things that I learned from Derek Castle about linoleum cutting. There are things that I've applied, the things that she's done about layering. And it's really nice to step out of one industry and get something else out of that. You know what? That's true, Doc. He says online is hard because the internet, mail, chats are right there as well. I believe you can turn some of those notifications off. I don't have email notification. I think if I did, my husband would divorce me because I think it would be going off all the time. So, but I know you can turn your IM chats off and just really focus on that class if you can. But again, maybe it's just for 30 minutes a week that you're giving this. I suggest that you pick one class a month, 1 or 2 classes a month, and do them and spend time 30 minutes each week or an hour each week working on them. And if you're a design superhero, I think you could probably do 1 a week, but it's hard when you're actually running a company or having a job and you have to get home, but it does help to energize you. So the next one are some drawbacks of online learning. The first one is that what I was talking about, that limited customer service or that troubleshooting. With lower price courses, having adequate customer service can be hard, or they don't get back to you in a timely manner. And that can be frustrating. The second one is on these lower priced courses, or like Skillshare or Lynda, there isn't really any interaction with the instructor. On Skillshare, you do, and I think that's one of the benefits to Skillshare. And when you're taking an online course, like Amy was talking about, for credit, you're taking a course, we are actually required as university professors to make sure that we engage with our students. And it actually takes a lot more time to have an online course for the instructor than it does necessarily to do an in-person course, because there's so much individual instead of just talking to the group. But I guess maybe it makes me a little, I don't know, my expectations are higher because I want to make sure that I'm getting some of that, because I also actually really seek feedback. So the higher priced courses definitely have better teacher support, and they're actually going to engage with you online. I have taken a course called Insta Results, and it's all about Instagram and how Subi Zimmerman has used this to teach a bunch of different people. Again, I think there's a link I know there is a link in the body of the replay where it is on the site. And she actually reaches out, even if you don't, she has reached out to me to help me, give me some pointers. And I think that that's huge. It was a higher priced course. So, but again, you're going to get more for that. I do think as a online $10 a month, Skillshare does a great job. I think they exceed expectations there, because it depends on the size of the class, how much interaction you're going to get with other students or with the instructor. And that's the next part. So a lot of times these online courses, there's not a lot of interaction between students. It really depends on each student going in and making sure that they're connecting, which is a great way to connect with other people and, push each other and find friends that are doing similar things, or find people who are doing something totally different. And maybe you could kind of push each other. So I also think that also comes with a price, just so you know. With some of the higher paying courses, they will open up special groups, Facebook groups, private groups that you have to ask to join. And that has been really helpful and really good way to connect, instead of just like the regular post on Skillshare. It depends on your questions and your visuals that you're posting. So the little to no critical feedback from the instructor is to me, one of the biggest drawbacks. And Amy says, I think the depth of the course and the instructor make a big difference. Absolutely. All these things are completely, Creative Live are really good. Alma, that's absolutely right. I think me and you have watched some of those same ones. And a lot of them are free. And then if you want to buy them from Creative Live, thank you so much for bringing that up. They then they'll charge you. But if you watch it live when it's actually going, you get all the content for free. Sometimes it's hard to give up your whole day or a week. Sometimes they take more than one day. So the next part, I think you kind of get the no critical feedback. I think people they don't want to hurt your feelings. They don't want to be like, oh man, she's so mean, or he's mean. I'm not going to, ever take a class from him. And I think there's some power in, you don't want to be the bad guy, and you're trying to sell courses. So of course you're not going to do that. So yes, Andre says in Skillshare, when you have feedback, you can have feedback if you enroll when it starts. Absolutely. So here's some advantages, I think, of being a student forever. Then I'm going to open it up. One is you're able to, it forces you actually to stay up to date with trends and tools, which is really important in our field because it's always changing. It also fuels your curiosity. Now every time I see curiosity, I think of Brittany. And so she's at Curious Co or something. I can't remember. I don't know if she's in here or not, but I know Jeremy knows her handle. But I always think if you're learning, you're always curious about new topics, you're able to add more value to your clients. And I think that's really important. And it also is a great fighter of boredom. So it builds your portfolio and your skill set. Again, you're gaining information, and then you're able to have a skill that now you're going to be able to give to your clients. And you maybe don't want to be, a jack of all trades, but I really think it's important to be able to know people who can do other things for your clients, or to know that you can't do something for your clients because you realize there's way more in depth than you could go. But it's something that you can offer to find someone to do for them, or you can learn it and you can offer it. So by taking classes in new areas, you're building out your skill base, which means that you can do more things. And, these are not just for your clients, but also for your employer. And I would love to know, if your employer would not pay for a subscription, would you get it on your own? I'd love to, I think I have a poll that says that, but I'm going to look real quick and see if I can find it. Oh, all right, here's a good one. What? Oh, no. Nope, not that one. Reset. Sorry. Here it is. That's the one. Start. What is your favorite method of learning or consuming information? So books, podcasts, blogs, videos, MOOCs, which is massive online. I always forget. Open online courses, and then online courses. So most people are, and granted, some online courses have videos, and MOOCs definitely have videos a lot of times. Everybody's saying videos. Nope, not everybody now. So it's changing up. So right now we have half the people, 50% say videos, 14% now, 13% say books, and the other, now it's about all across the board. Videos are number one, and books and online courses are number two, and podcasts, blogs, and online courses, MOOCs are not used. I'm not sure if y'all even know what a MOOC is. Maybe it's just a, oh, yeah, sorry. I know there probably is it's a tiny bitty lag. Oh, I'm going to go to the next slide. So the last advantage, I think, of being a student forever is that you learn you have new uses for old familiar tools. Because to me, whenever I watch a video like Vaughn's videos on Illustrator, even though I've been using Illustrator since Illustrator 3, not CS3, but Illustrator 3, I always learn something new, or now they've changed a tool that does something else. Amy also says AIGA.org has a huge list of MOOCs on their website. So that's definitely something you should check out. So a MOOC is a massive open online course. So Harvard has some of these. So their professors are putting their content out there. And I'm sorry, William, you don't see the poll. Where do y'all see the poll? Because I don't see the poll like you. Maybe it's in polls. Maybe is there a thing like chat room and then polls? William, can you see it then? Yeah. Andre loved Vaughn's courses on Linda also. So does that explain what a MOOC is? So it would be a whole course on, it could be some particular law thing, or maybe there's some design ones, obviously, if it's on AIGA, but it could be business related. But it's all different ones. Oh, right under the chat panel. Thank you, Carlos. Yeah. So again, obviously you're not getting credit, but it is usually the same course that they're teaching their students. So definitely check it out. And the last one, advantage of being a student forever, I believe if you're always learning, so Amy says it's above the chat box. You got to look around. Sorry, William. I believe if you're always learning, you have less of an ego because you realize you don't know it all. And the more you dig in and the more you learn about something, the less you realize you know. And I think that always is helpful to be them, I don't know, to have them, to not have a huge ego. I think you need confidence, but I think there's a definite difference. So, all right, so I'm going to ask you a couple more poll questions, and then I'm going to open it up and see if, I know Jeremy said he wanted to get on, so hopefully I'm giving him enough time. So, all right, so what is the most you guys have paid for a course? So the ranges are $10 or under, 20 to 50, 51 to 100, 101 to $3.99. And I guess like with Skillshare, you know, I'm thinking that's $120, you know, a year. So maybe, because that's what you're paying usually, is not by the course actually. So 400 to 700, should have been 701 to $9.99, and then over $1,000. So most of you are in like maybe the almost $400 range you've paid. Usually they'll price it at something like $397 or $399 or $350 or $250 or something, $247. Always good to know. So it looks like the majority of you are in the $399 kind of area. Nobody's like me. Maybe I'm just the stupid one, huh? Anyway, I really have enjoyed all the ones I've done. Let me ask two more, then I'm going to see. So, all right. So this one is, what's the most you would personally pay? So your boss isn't going to pay for it, but you want to learn this. How much would you personally pay for a course? It doesn't matter. Would you pay for something if your boss wasn't going to reimburse you? I think sometimes that can be a factor because you want support, and maybe they don't realize how much our field changes and how much it is to stay up on it, especially if you're in corporate or working for an institution or something like that, working for the government. So personally, people would pay half of you said you would pay about $500. So the rest, it's like $40 is a good amount. $200 would be probably a good max amount. And it went all the way up to over 2,000. I haven't gotten there yet, but there's one I would like to go to. But I haven't been able to do that one yet. All right. One last poll, I think. All right. So if your company would pay for you to take a course, or would your company pay for you to take a course or subscribe to a learning platform? Sometimes people will get at a job. They'll be able to either go to a conference and the company will pay for that, or maybe they do some learning reimbursement through at a university or something like that. But if they do, then you may want to see about some lynda.com or Skillshare, or taking another specific that would help your company, maybe not your freelance company. I mean, it would, of course, help that too, but it would also help. You have to be able to sell it to them how it's going to help them and help them make more money. So some of you say maybe that's a question you need to ask. I think it would be important and a nice, there's nothing, a lot of times people haven't had a lot of raises. So therefore, that's a great way to say, hey, well, if you're not going to give me a raise, but you really like the work that I'm doing, you're not giving anybody raises. Do you think you could at least reimburse me for this? Or could you, the learning stuff, usually people feel really confident in reimbursing, or they can see how that benefits them as well. So most of you said yes, some of you said maybe, and some of you said definitely no. So again, that means that it's all on you to keep up, and that can be financially hard, but it also is a really good thing if you're doing freelance. You can use that on your taxes and claim that as a business expense. All right, so now I'm going to open it up, and Jen says it's harder when you're in a non-corporate environment. Definitely, absolutely. But I have seen where if they see how it could help them, they will do it because they see. But you do have to do like some marketing numbers. Like, hey, if we get 3 clients and they pay this much for this that I've learned, we have paid for it over 3 times. So it's paid for itself. So they want to see what they're going to get out and how they're going to be able to offer more to their clients. So, all right. And all those links and everything are in it's on the blog page, the Design Recharge page for this video. So it'll be the video, and then all the text pretty much is repeated there. So I'm going to open it up. So if you would like to join in, you can click over, I think on your, in the room, you can actually do a request. I think you can raise your hand and you can join on camera, and we're going to try. I haven't done this before. So Jeremy said he would test it out with me, and I'm hoping that I will be able to see that. So I believe it is when you hover over like if I'm on top of Jeremy's chat, I see a hand, a request button. Oh, let me see if I can do this. So I'm going to invite him as a speaker, but I believe you can also raise your hand to come on screen. And it'll show me in a different place. So just let me know if there's Jeremy. So here we go. Hopefully he's got his earbuds in. He does.
I do.
Yay. Hey, Jeremy. Thanks for trying this out with me.
Sorry, there's a little bit of a lag there.
That's okay.
And my dog is now barking because I haven't spoken in an hour, so they're a little confused. And it cut out right when you said request to speak. I hit request to speak, and then it takes you to all of these prompts.
We'll talk about that later, so I'll be able to do. So do you do any like Skillshare or anything like that? Because you're really working on your freelance business. You are, just have rebranded yourself, which I'm super proud of you for.
It's exciting. Yes, I have taken, I think Mary Kate McDevitt. She has some Skillshare classes. I listen to a lot of podcast talks as well.
Like who?
I really, right now, I'm in love with Andy J. Miller, his Creative Pep Talk podcast. He specifically has decided that his podcast is geared towards freelancers. So it's really good if you're looking for, his most recent podcast was about the freelancer's dungeon map. So your guide to navigate through that.
Cool.
And of course, I haven't done any Lynda classes or anything like that, but I've definitely done Skillshare, and YouTube is very helpful as well.
So I agree. Do you have anybody on YouTube that's like a go-to person for you?
For illustration, there's Clay Butler. I think you actually might have shared one of his videos before. But he has a lot of really good just shortcuts and tricks to use for anything from shading to outlining a piece to getting your files vectorized. It's pretty cool. And they're about 30 to sometimes 45 minutes. So
that's some pretty deep learning. I mean, can be.
Yeah, I I mentioned earlier in the chat, it depends on how much you break it up. Because, I mean, usually an hour out of your day at the end of the day, if you're just winding down instead of just listening to your iPod, hanging out on the couch, how about just turn on the computer, do a
Yes.
class?
Right. So I use it on the way to work, and I have about a 30-minute drive, and this has been huge for me and my learning. So I have a pad of paper that I write notes on, and then I transfer them back over because sometimes I can't really read what I wrote. But Joseph says he listens to Debbie Millman and Sean McCabe. So I also listen to both of those as well. I definitely probably have listened to Sean more, but Debbie has some Skillshares that are awesome, and I think it's good to kind of smatter a bunch of people in so that you're not just getting. So that's again why I like interview sessions, which I'll have to check out Clay Butler, but because then I'm kind of introduced to a lot of different people and a lot of different styles.
Right.
Why can't I click on you? Oh. I got it.
And of course, I've taken Finding Your Superpower. That one has been my favorite course that I've ever taken. So I will plug that one in all day long.
Well, thanks. So you took the course, and it took you about a month, right, to go through it?
Yeah, when you lay it all down, it took me about a month to do. Yeah.
So do you think that that's something you're going to continue? Because really you were doing about an hour to 2 hours every day, kind of really working on getting this. And this is one of the kind of impetus behind getting your brand started and really to getting some more freelance clients. And I'm so thankful. I'm so proud that it's helped you. But, is that something you're going to continue? Is to continue setting aside time each week, or like, are you going to do it every other month? Or because I think Doc was saying something about that it's hard to kind of juggle between work and then knowing when. I actually think you have to schedule it in as like a meeting, sort of.
Yeah, for me, I definitely have to map out parts of my day that I can do either my creative work or design work after my full-time job, because I work from 6 in the morning to 3 or 4 in the afternoon, and then by that point you're dead, so you have to either devote it to a weekend or devote it to like one day a week. Typically, I do it on Wednesdays because it's right after Design Recharge, and then I just sit down for an hour and go to YouTube, or even just open up Illustrator or Photoshop or Sketchbook and just start messing around. And then if I come up with a problem, I search for it on YouTube and see if I can find someone to help me with that.
Yep. So and sometimes you've used your resources and you've contacted me like, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. What have I done?
Yeah, I remember that was with Photoshop. I had the resolution wrong. But yes, use your resources. That's one of the biggest things. You asked earlier, what have you taught yourself since you graduated? And probably the biggest thing is just to ask as many questions as possible and never be afraid to ask someone, because you never know. They are more than willing to share their knowledge, and don't be so guarded to saying, like, there's an obvious age difference between me and you, and there's an
I got my walker in the back.
Well, I mean, not that obvious of an age difference, but okay. I mean, just ask questions and always learn, always be curious.
Yeah, I think some people get they think maybe that, they can't ask those questions, but really, I'm going to answer. I might not answer you that day, but I'm going to try to. I really value you guys, and so to me it's really important to be there for you. And I think there's so many people that really do such good work, and they're so expert at the thing that they do that they're used to being asked questions. And sometimes, like Sean McCabe and Ben, I think his name is Ben, who is on the podcast with him. I can't think of what his last name is, but he has an awesome website, and he answers a ton of questions on his website. And I think that, those are things that help you in the beginning when you're growing something, or help you when you're stuck in a problem to be able to read through and kind of figure out.
Yeah, definitely it's always great to have that community support. That's why you
Right.
go to things like Design Recharge and go to Creative South. And if you can't go to a conference, just find someone on Twitter. I mean,
Right.
I added multiple people at Creative South that I had met in a day, and now we talk every day. So
Absolutely. Like Brittany, right? So to
yes.
me, so you came to Creative South and you did, I don't know, I don't think you were shy before, but you just really, even if you were shy, you just have to step out of that because it's an awesome conference, right?
Yeah, it's fantastic.
In the chat, just so you know, Jen says, you both are younger than me, but I find that you learn from all ages and at all apps and at different levels. And I totally agree with that, Jen. And William, I have tried not to waddle anymore. One time William said to me, you waddle. And I'm like, holy crap, that's kind of mean. But I would give William a hard time. He's one of my students. And then Levi Tron says that I'm old. I guess I'm old. Anyway, I'm cool old, maybe. Who knows?
Definitely.
Joseph,
I don't
you
think
should
you're
really
old.
try to come. So tell Joseph, this is I just am a huge fan of Creative South, and Amy went, and I mean, again, you got to meet. I think you talk to Brittany Barnhart all the time, right?
I talked to
Or a
her now.
lot.
I actually didn't even know that she was at Creative South. We're super bummed that we didn't see each other, but it's okay. But if you are a shy person, you won't even have time to get over it because someone's just going to come up to you and start talking, and it's going to be over something as simple as you're sitting at a round table that has 4 extra chairs. They're going to come over and sit with you. But Creative South was awesome. I mean, you just kind of have to dive in and don't be afraid to look inferior around people because everybody there is doing exactly the same thing as you are, and nobody really has it all put together anyway. So just
That's right.
learn from each other.
Right. And Vaughn was there, and he usually comes. I think he's yes. It's creativesouthga.com, and it's April 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th next year. So the first day is workshops, and those are extra. You pay per workshop, and they're all really good. And then the Friday and Saturday, it's all day. It's in Columbus, so a lot of times people will just fly into Atlanta, and then they'll just drive to Columbus. There is a tiny airport there, but I just drive. I'm glad I'm not too old. But I'm reading the chat as we go. But I really think, again, Creative South is a great start. So you see all these people. There are people who have Skillshare classes. There are people who have taught on Lynda. There are people who are professors that are teaching, and then there are also people who've written books, all kinds of stuff. I just think it's really important that you keep learning, and whatever that may be. I think it's really easy for us because we have all this online learning available, and even if it's just reading books or listening to podcasts, that at least is helping you with your business. So let me tell you, Joseph, this conference is about $125 max. If you don't do any workshops, that's what it costs you, $125. Or that's what it was last year. And they did do a Love is Blind in November, I believe. And that's when I bought my tickets. And I gave my ticket to Jeremy.
Yes.
And one of my tickets. So I had, it was just laid on my heart that I needed to share that. And then I had contacted Jeremy, and I asked him if he wanted to go. And so it's really, really cheap.
Yes.
So you do have to pay for your hotel and your food. And Jeremy had to pay for his hotel and his food. I only paid but it was $80, the Love is Blind. And that's usually, if you start following them or get on their newsletter, which I will definitely share. Yes, Joseph, it blew my mind also. And there's tons of learning that you're getting from these awesome people. I mean, it is amazing. So, yes, $80 is not expensive. It's pretty cheap. Even $125 is not that bad.
No.
Right, Jeremy?
No, I mean, like you said, you gave me the ticket, so it was awesome anyway, but I've already planned, before I had even gotten to Creative South this year, I'd planned on going back next year just because of the build-up for the weeks prior to going, and people were just talking about it on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah.
It's a great conference.
And it was your first conference last time, so give kind of a freshman year kind of feel.
So it was my first Creative South conference. I didn't really know what to expect. I don't know if I just thought everyone was going to be there and I was going to be the only one set up without anything to sell, any merch to give out, or I didn't know how any of that worked, and I didn't know. I felt bad a little bit that I didn't know all of these amazing people, and then immediately got over it because there's just so many new people that you're going to meet throughout the week. I met someone new every single day, and I'm pretty sure that I Facebook friended all of them. If I haven't, I'll find you. Don't worry. But it was, I think my hotel was probably within 10 minutes to drive to it. It wasn't that bad at all.
Yeah, and
you can also walk.
Yeah.
And Columbus itself is just fantastic. I mean, the little town is great. They have all these different shops. I work at a coffee shop, so of course I checked out all the different coffee shops there. The river walk is awesome. Oh, the kickoff party was awesome too.
That one was.
With Ink Wars and everything.
Yep, and so Jason Craig was in Ink Wars. He was, Levi's talking that he sleeps in the park, which I kind of doubt, but maybe he does. I wouldn't put it past him. But I don't know if you saw, so my poster back there is by Scotty Russell and Jason Craig. Jason Craig said that drink black coffee, save 8 hours a day, or save 8 hours a year if you just drink it black with no. Anyway, he was a great speaker.
Yes.
Anyway, it's not a Creative South plug, but it is really good. Again, that's learning. So it's putting money into your education. And I actually think a lot of people don't think about the budget for a year of what you spend, or maybe it's just time that you spend. I definitely have a figure budget that I go for, but I also think it's really important to do a time budget. So I'd love to know in the chat how much time you guys think you spend and how much money you think you spend, and that's books and everything. Like Jason, you read a ton of books. I don't know if you get them all at the library. Excuse me, I got the burps today. But like, how much are you spending a year, money and time-wise? I'd love to hear that in the chat. Do you know, Jeremy, what you think you do time-wise?
For outside learning, online learning? So with YouTube, stuff like that, I'd say that most of the videos are about 30 minutes, and if I do it 3 to 4 times a week, it's probably a couple hours a week. But lately with launching my brand and doing your course, that one took up, I had to allot at least an hour to do it a day. So I'd say it's probably at least a couple hours a week. But I haven't really. Here's what I did for your course, and what I think will be helpful for everyone. It recommends to write down when you want to complete them, and that became really helpful for me because then I could figure out what day it needed to be done, and that way I would know when to spend time working on it.
And I think you could do that for any course. Like if you kind of go through to see how long the videos are, or see how long, how much reading you have to do, or how much research you have to do, is set goal dates from the get-go. It's really a good action step for anybody.
Yeah.
That's cool. So Andreas talking about how he saw Sagmeister, and he was in a black dot dress when he spoke at this I think it was a conference in Portugal, the OFF Festival. It's Design Multimedia, and it's $65. That's amazing. Anyway, well, we're almost out of time, but Jeremy, why don't you tell them about your so you did my course, and you were working on you were just kind of doing freelance stuff with just your name, right? Jeremy Rivers.
Right.
So then, what you launched, so tell them what your website is, or how they can get in touch with you. And at some point, Jeremy and I are going to do a little bit longer interview about about how he went through my course, but this was about online learning, so he offered to share a little bit. So tell them how they can connect with you and what you're doing with, and what the name is.
So the name is Riverbend Branding, like just around the Riverbend. My last name's Rivers, so I wanted to play around with my name. But taking the Finding Your Superpower course just really pushed me into getting down to business, because I always said I'll come up with a name one day, and then I would pick out these things and they wouldn't be good enough, and then I realized it's never going to be good enough until you do something about it. So I just decided to get going. But the course really teaches you a lot about how to view yourself as a business person as well as a designer and freelancer. Just to think of yourself as not just little old me. Like it helps you learn a lot about yourself and how you can use your available resources. My cat is playing with my headphones. Sorry.
So
go ahead.
So
sorry.
how long did, after you decided to do Riverbend, right?
Riverbend. Yep.
After you did that, how long did it take for you to launch your website? Because there is some process, and you kind of have to be nice to yourself and not try to get it all done in a little short amount.
Everyone that I talked to said that I moved super fast on it, because I think after I finished the course, I had come up with my name and what I wanted to do, who I wanted to work with immediately after finishing it, and decided that I was going to buy the domain that day. So I think since finishing the course, I finished it at the beginning of July, so I gave myself a month to work on my brand, and then I decided to finish it. And then I was going to launch it this month, and I launched it today. I decided I was just going to put everything out there today. So I'm on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and I have my own website too.
So write those in the chat so people can follow you. And I'm also going to...
That's what I was going to say. I actually can't find the chat in this video. I have a chat pulled up, but it's blank. The entire thing's blank.
So I want you to click on, if you hover over your face or my face, whatever's on the screen, there's a little white app on the left-hand side called Webinar Jam Studio. There might be two of them, so make sure you click on Webinar Jam. Do you see that? It's on your left-hand side. Yep.
I see the chat, and I see screen. Let's see.
Keep going down. Is there another one?
There's YouTube.
All right.
Okay. Webinar Jam
Studio. Click on that, and then the chat will pop up. No? Okay. Why don't you tell me what your handle is, and I will type it in.
Okay. So because of Twitter, things are. My Riverbend branding was too long, so it's just on Twitter it's Riverbend Brand, and Instagram is Riverbend Branding. And then you can find me.
Can't see. Riverbend.
I can't see.
I hope I'm doing it right.
It pulls up.
Sorry.
Yeah. Whenever I tried to pull up the chat, it just takes me to Google. I tried.
Oh, it's okay. I got your back.
Oh, I think it's working. Possibly. Yes. Okay. Here we go. Sorry about that.
Well, I'm typing in Twitter, and so you type in your website, and I'm going to and type in the www, HTTP, all that stuff, because then it'll be clickable, and it's a pain, I know, but it helps everybody else. So I'm gonna if you guys. If you're new, I do this every week. Next week, I'm super excited to have my friend Dustin Lee. And if you weren't at Creative South, but you didn't go to his workshop, we're going to talk about a bunch of stuff that he had in his workshop. And he made like $237,000 last year on passive income, and it blew my mind. So I'm super excited to have him on. You can really ask him any questions. He and I are going to work on having some polls, so questions to go to ask y'all, because I think that's really fun, and he likes doing stuff like that too. So anyway, I'm excited to have him on. So make sure you tell all your friends. You'll be learning how to make extra money, and passive income is income that, so everything we do is not passive as a designer usually. You can't really reuse a logo for someone else, or maybe you can do some things, but it's not a ton you can do. So it's about doing something that is constantly making you money, and maybe you're selling it at a lower cost, or maybe you're selling it at a high cost but to fewer people. So we're going to talk about all those different parts. Anyway, yes, and so he is also going to be at WMC Fest this weekend, I believe. And so Doc Reed's planning on going. Anybody else going to WMC Fest? I would love to go next year, but I'm not able to go. I'd love. Tron, are you going? Jason Craig, are you going? Amy, are you going? I know, another one, and it's not really expensive either. But I think I have a link to that at another. I don't know. Anyway, I've had so many links. I rewrote things. Anyway. So if you, I don't know if I even ever shared this. So if you want to find more great interviews and stuff, you can check out the blog. And then if you want to just learn more about some other things that I'm doing, the Finding Your Superpower course, it really helps you kind of understand who you are and what are some of your advantages that you can take advantage of and share with clients. And usually it's a little bit more fun, makes it feel more fun to do if you're using your advantages. And then if you just want to check out, oh yeah, Lenny is going. I know he's going. And Mike Jones, he's speaking. I'm super excited for him. It's his first speaking at WMC Fest, so I'm super jealous that I'm not able to make that one. And then just in case you want to follow me on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram, I'm at Design Recharge, or I'm another one, but you can get me at that one. If you want to follow me in both places, which pretty much I'm putting the same stuff in both, so you really just need to follow Design Recharge. But sometimes you can find I do pictures of my dog more on Diane Gibbs AU, and that's Twitter. So anyway, thank you guys. Jeremy, thank you so much for coming on and sharing a little bit of your story. I'm definitely having you back on. I'm super excited about all your launches and can't wait to see your site.
Yes, next time will be a little more put together.
It was great. Next time we'll make sure we have the chat and we'll do a pre-test before. But it was good. We kind of figured out, I should have told you to do screenshots so that I could share those. But we'll have to do that next time.
Okay, cool. Sounds good to me.
All right. Thank you, guys. And we'll see you next week, same time, 2:30 Eastern, 11:30 Pacific with Dustin Lee. And we're going to learn how to make some more money. Passive income. See y'all.